Ai sera nari me le sagliette tu sai adoro sto cuore in
Matteo from Homesteading Italian. Really excited about today's program. I had the opportunity to go down to southern New Jersey and harvest a pig. And then today I'm going to use that pig and its head specifically to show you how to make what's called guanciale. It's an Italian delicacy made from the cheeks of the pig, and it is the focal point for many amazing dishes. It's a little daunting to use the head and produce such a product, but once you've got the techniques down, you're going to be quite pleased that you know how to do this. So join along with us. It should be a fun one. Today we're going to take the pig's head that we harvested from the pig that we obtained down in South Jersey Pinelands, and we're going to take that head and demonstrate and show you how to take out the pig cheeks and eventually turn it into guanciale. So you remember I put it in this lug. Well, the head's been sitting in there chilling, and there is no doubt that it's disgusting. I realize that. But the thing that is important to realize, it's very difficult to be able to get pig cheeks. You would have to either raise them like we do, order them, I guess, through the internet, if that's even possible. I don't know. But a couple other things that you might consider. A lot of farm butchers, such as myself, or small butchers, where they actually do it for other people. Oftentimes, the people that are bringing in their pigs don't want the head. They don't know how to use it. It's very foreign to them. So probably at a minimal cost, you can get the heads from the butcher. And with this film that I'm about to show you, you'll be able to turn these heads and the pig cheeks into guanciale. The other thing you can do certainly is make scrapple, which is a Pennsylvania Dutch staple. There's a lot of things you can do with the head. But today we're going to concentrate on guanciale. All right, if we take a look at the head, right below the eyeballs, you can see that the cheek raises up, and it's maybe an inch below the ear, and it comes right to the edge of the mouth of the pig. And what you're going to literally do is just score that skin with your knife, right, using that description I've given you. And once you hit that, you're going to follow those same principles we talked about when breaking a pig down, where you just take the knife and tilt the blade so the sharp end is just skimming along the bone. If you're not feeling the bone underneath the knife, you're going to be leaving that precious meat of the pig's cheek on the bone, which is not what we want. All right, we're going to demonstrate, or I'm going to demonstrate, how to remove the pig cheek from the pig head to eventually make guanciale. So you see the eye here? Well, around the eye, just underneath it, not around it, but underneath it, is the pig cheek, and then it comes down here and meets the mouth. So what I'm going to do is take my knife, starting at the edge of the mouth, and I'm going to score it all the way down till I feel my tip of my blade hit the bone, the cheekbone, come around south of the eye and come back up. All right, once I've made that cut, then I have where kind of my guide to getting this pig cheek out. I'm going to turn the head, and I'm going to bring my knife and always being conscious of where the bone is, I'm going to slowly and carefully extract that pig cheek out. Now, the challenge with this particular job is the bone of the pig cheek has curvature to it. It's not flat, which makes it difficult to extract the entire pig cheek. So what you have to do is just use the tip. You notice this grip I have. I'm not holding the knife like this. I'm holding it in what's called a butcher's grip. And the blade of that knife is going tight against the bone. And that way, I have a lot of confidence that I'm leaving no meat on the bone. So right in here, it becomes problematic because we're dipping down. So I just gotta take my time. And just keep working that blade of the knife along that pig cheek. There, you see how the bone comes down and then takes a little ski slope down. I'm very pleased with the amount of meat that I'm taking off and how little I'm leaving on that cheekbone. Oh, there's the guanciale. Well, it's not guanciale, it's pig cheek. And it came off like that. And then we just peeled it away. There it is. All right, on to the next step. So what I'm going to do is I have a bowl of lukewarm water, well, room temperature water, and I'm going to put that bloody pig's cheek inside that water, and I'm going to let it sit for about a half an hour, and then I'm going to clean it up a little more, and then I'm going to put kosher salt back in some more clean water, dump the water, put more clean water, kosher salt, and then I'm going to let this sit for no less than an hour, and that's going to pull out a lot of the blood. So we'll come back for that. Into the water it goes. All right, half an hour has passed. The initial water bath has done a good job to start out, but it's not quite where we want it. So I took the pig cheeks out of the water, cleaned them up a little bit with the knife. You need to look for glands and other little hidden gems that you don't want. The other thing that you should take note of is there's still skin on this pig cheek, and you definitely want that. You don't want to skin it off because the skin helps during the drying process to regulate how fast the meat dries. Okay, so I'm going to put both of these pig cheeks down on my cutting board, and you'll please notice how clean this area is. I'm a man of my word, so I want to make sure my wife's happy. So I'm going to give both cheeks not a huge amount, maybe an eighth of a cup total of kosher salt. I prefer to use kosher salt. And then I'm going to cover them, the cheeks, and the kosher salt in lukewarm water so it dissolves the salt. And I'm going to let the cheeks sit in that salt bath for at least an hour. You can't really you don't want to go 5 hours, but hour and a half, 2 hours, that's okay. All right. I also prefer to salt them in the bowl. That way I keep all the salt where I want it. So that much sprinkled over. And then I'm going to put the other one in, maybe a little bit more. And when I go to put water in this, I'm going to let the water go over my hands. And that way I'll get all the excess off. All right, so water goes in this, hour plus or minus. And all right, the waiting's over. The pork cheek has sat in the brine of salt water for an hour and a half. So I'm going to pull it out, blot it as dry as I can get it. I don't want it all the way dry because I want the spices to stick onto it. And then we're going to put it on the scale, and I'll tell you where we go next. All right, so hopefully you can see, but it's a lot cleaner, which is a good thing. Again, I want to get the majority of the water off so I can get an accurate reading on the scale, but I don't want it completely dry because I want to get an accurate weighing, like I said. It's amazing. I guess amazing is not the correct word, but it's impressive how clean that salt bath got it. So remember, when you set your scale, make sure that you put it in grams because that's how this recipe is going to work. And zero up your container so you don't weigh the container. All right, so in goes the pig cheek. So it's 702 grams with the weight of the pork cheek and a little moisture weight. So what I'm going to do now, and actually I've already done it, there's a site on the internet, YouTube, called Two Guys in a Cooler. I believe the gentleman's name's Eric. Whatever his name is, he's outstanding. And the thing about homesteading, you're kind of like a general practitioner for medicine. Not really, but kind of. In that you know a lot of things. So you're a jack of all trades, but you're really not a master of any. You might be really good at some of the things you do, but basically you have a solid working knowledge of many things that encompass homesteading. So when it comes to curing meats, I'm pretty good, but there are people that are better. And I need to give them credit. This two guys in a cooler is one of the people I go to. So when you go to this gentleman's YouTube site, you put in Two Guys in a Cooler on the search engine, and then just put in the word guanciale, and his recipe will come up. And it's so easy because what you do is you weigh the meat like I just did. And then he has, I'll call it a program, where you put in the weight, 702 grams, and it spits out the exact measurements for the spices. And it actually, obviously it tells you what spices, which I've already done. So we have 702 grams of pork cheek, and I'm going to start out with salt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all that in this bowl, this little orange bowl, and I'm going to mix it up. So there's my salt. This is called Instacure. Here it is in a package. It's pink. Instacure number 2. This is a preserving agent. So I'm going to put this in there. It also infuses and has the meat turn a really deep red. Make sure that you get all of that. Black pepper. Light brown sugar. Red pepper flakes. They're about to make me start coughing and sneezing. There they go. So we know those are working. Fennel seed. Love fennel seed. And last but not least, 2 bay leaves that I'm going to initially crush up. Some minced up rosemary. And finally, this little, I don't know if you can see it, this little tiny thing that looks like a rabbit turd. I know that's probably not the correct term to use, but that's what it looks like. Those are juniper berries. I had to go to a health food store to get them. The other ingredients, a lot of them, well, not a lot, but I was able, in a lot of these recipes, I'm able to grow, which is fun. Okay, so I'm going to mix all that up. Get my hands in there. You know, a lot of these things that we do are very tactile, which is a fancy word for by touch. You feel them. When I go over to Andy's house, Andy's the 82-year-old, 84-year-old Italian gentleman who is mentoring me. He doesn't measure anything, like nothing. And that's how a lot of these recipes got started. Okay, so I have my food saver bag already cut for the correct size. I'm going to take the pig cheek and I'm going to put it inside that food saver bag. Now, I've done this a number of times. You want to pre-measure that bag out because there's nothing quite like going to put in whatever you want in these bags and find out that you didn't measure it correctly, the bag. All right, now this is this 2 guys in a cooler's recipe for guanciale. He calls it an equilibrium recipe or curing process, and he's very adamant, which I understand, about making sure you get all the spices in. So take that bowl and literally get all the spices on top of that meat. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put my hands in there because then a lot of the spices get on my hands. But I am going to take it over to the food saver and seal it up. Okay, so pig cheek covered in the spice mixture, vacuum sealed. It's going to go into the refrigerator, flat side, and every day I'm going to flip it over, give it a little I love you massage, let it hang out for another 24 hours, another I'm keeping an eye on you massage, and then after 7 days, we'll be back. All right, it's been a little over a week. The guanciale has been making friends with the spices and the salt that I've rubbed on it. It sat in this shrink wrap bag. Now I'm going to cut it open, wash off the spices, and while the meat's still damp, I'm going to take this product that's manufactured by Butcher Supply out of New York State. It feels like cellophane, but its purpose is to slow down the drying process of the meat. What you don't want is for the meat to dry out too quick. It has like an outer hardening, but the inside is raw. So this slows it down. And then a lot of the other products that we do, it goes into a netting, but because of the configuration of this guanciale, I'm going to simply take some butcher twine and I'm just going to string it up with that around the cellophane and hang it that way. It's worked in the past, so I can't imagine it's not going to work now. All right, we'll be back when this is all done and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, the guanciale is all wrapped and you can see I attached some butcher twine around it. I also put a label on it. That label has the green weight, which is the weight it's at this current moment. It has the date. It needs to lose 30% of the green weight. So I'll go out to the refrigerator as it hangs, check on it periodically, and when it's done, we'll be back. So hang in there. All right, you've heard that adage, good things take time. Here's the guanciale that we were working on. Here's how it hung in the refrigerator. These S hooks are really helpful. When I labeled it, it was on the 4th of November. Now it is the 9th of January. So a little over 2 months. When you grab the meat, it's firmed up to a umpteenth degree. And the other thing that's probably more important, when I put that initial weight on it, it's dropped to 30%. So this particular piece of pork cheek, the guanciale, is down to 1.3 pounds, which hits the magic mark of dropping 30% in green weight. So what I'm going to do now, and it's always exciting to do this because you wait so long. We'll take off the string that was used to just kind of hold on the plastic, not really plastic, but the material to retain the time that it took to dry out. You don't want the meat to dry out too quickly. Hopefully I can reuse this because that would be helpful because this stuff is expensive. But we'll see. It's kind of sticking on to the meat here. Nope, we're not going to be reusing this. Would have been nice to reuse it. Now, as I'm pulling this off, a lot of the, well, not a lot, but a certain amount of the cellophane stuck to the meat's surface. So what you do with that is you can just put the piece of meat under warm water and that'll just peel right off. But what I want to do now is here's the outer side, the skin side, and that was important because that also regulates the speed by which the meat dries out. Now, you don't need a lot of this guanciale in recipes. A little goes a long way. So what's helpful and what I'm going to do with this is I cut it in sections, chunks, and then I vacuum seal each chunk. And then when a recipe that I want to use that involves guanciale, I just take out the chunk, and that way I don't compromise taking out a whole piece and not using it. So that's helpful. So let's cut through this right now. Now that skin is challenging, but I want you to see what it looks like. So you can see, hopefully you can see, that there's a lot of lardo fat, and then it's got the pieces of actual pork meat running through it. And that's the key to guanciale, because what you do is you cut it up in tiny little pieces, and then you render it as if you were making lard, and that fat permeates into the meat and just injects this incredible flavor. And the pieces, they're kind of like pork rind, but super concentrated in flavor. And that's the magic to this guanciale. So hopefully you are confident enough to try this on your own. I will tell you that once you eat this, you'll definitely want to try and create your own. So thanks for watching. As always, if you like what you saw, it feels good to be appreciated and recognized. So hit that like button, and that's a nice way of you saying to me, nice job, keep doing what you're doing. All right, Matteo from Homesteading Italian. Have a great day. Keep enjoying life. Bye-bye.